Good morning. I am just setting up. I've just found position and I realised it was just about time to start. So I thought I would just set you up and just show a little view of the beach, of the waves, and just set up my space, and then we'll get started. So I'll probably be a couple of minutes. I'm going to sit you down. We'll turn the camera around, and good morning to you all. I trust I'm coming in loud and clear. Let me know, please let me know if there's a problem. I'm going to sit you here. If you hear clanking and stuff, whoops, it'll just be me setting up. So take some nice big breaths and just bear with me a moment. Okay, let's move you here, hopefully. Let's turn the camera around and see what you can see. Hello. Yeah, hi Suzie, hi Alexandra. Hi everybody. Okay, this is not exactly where I wanted to be, but it's just where we ended up being. So what I might do is talk to you like this. I've got the dragon there in the background. So, welcome. Hopefully you won't go for a fall here. That might be okay. Hi Joanna. Okay, so welcome. I'm Leanne Peters. I'm from templeofbalance.com.au, Temple of Balance on Facebook and Temple of Balance on YouTube. And this is our monthly healing list event for patrons. I have 41 patrons on my healing list today, and I have you sitting here in my little butterfly cup. So I've got all your names in here. There's such a strong preparation for this particular healing event. Often they just sort of happen and unfold, and maybe I'll get information half an hour before we start. So this came in clear last night. So let me show you. Actually, I don't want to move it because it's now in 3 parts. I have this dragon castle that I made about a month ago. I made it. It's out of clay. And you may have seen, if you have been following my social media, that this guy decided to have a big crack before it was even fired. And it looked amazing and still looks amazing, but it is not repairable. So everyone that wants me to add gold to it, it's not possible because this was not even fired. I fired it yesterday, so it's now in 3 parts. Another part broke off on my way here. And it's really just hanging on by a thread. There are fine cracks everywhere, so it's not repairable. I'm not attached to it. I mean, I love it. It would have been nice if it worked out nicely, but I don't feel attached to it. We're going to use this in a healing sacrifice today. This is so symbolic of the current energy. It's actually quite uncanny. I did actually make it because I was doing a lot of tower sort of work. You know, tower is in the tarot cards. the Tower Tarot, and that was part of what inspired it. Stay. And so, you know, if it worked out, it would have been nice, but it hasn't. So let's work with it to help us with our healing, time today. So what my intention is we're going to actually demolish this. We're going to break this here during this healing event. There's this actual, I don't know if you can see it, but there's this great crack here, like this hole. And this is where I want to tuck everyone's names into this tower. And we're going to somehow, probably with this chunk of quartz, because I feel really drawn to quartz today. I bought this chunk of quartz from home. So we'll probably break it down, demolish it with that. But we're not ready to do that yet. So what we're going to start by doing, you have to bear with me because I'm just really letting this happen. I am going to start with a smudge. Sorry. Let's just get you on the sand. My other big tripod broke and I can't get my phone onto it. So this little tripod's just a little bit wobbly. There's birds here everywhere. Okay, I need to get this balanced up so we can get started. Let me just dig out some sand and we'll make a bit of a flatter area. Okay. This is what happens when you do these types of things on location. Stay! Okay, we might have it. Okay, we're going to start with some smudging. I bought a few sage sticks that I'm going to light up, and I'm going to just leave them to burn out themselves in the sand around the dragon. So we're going to do that to begin with. So take a nice big breath, and this is our time now to let go of our worries, our stresses, just our everyday challenges, so we can really drop deeply with this connection today. So let's prepare to drop deeply into ourselves, deeply into what's holding us back. I also want to welcome my patrons who are on the healing list today. Welcome. And also, if you're not on the healing list, this is still something you can get something out of. So you could imagine yourself on the healing list. You could just let yourself work with the energy that's been created. So take a nice big breath and allow this imagine this sacred smoke washing over your body and carrying away with it all negative energies, entities, cords, hooks, attacks and attachments. Allow yourself to really surrender what's holding you back, especially in regards to your surface kind of worry and stresses, the stuff that you're dealing with at the moment on a day-to-day basis. Think about really letting those things go, because they will clutter the space as we go deeper into healing if we don't take a moment to clear them. So let them go. Breathe out your stresses and worries, the things that have been on your mind, and bring yourself fully here. Be as fully present as you can be. So I'm going to now put these into the sand around the dragon. And before I pull a card, I've got something to read to you. It's from my very first tarot deck I got when I was about grade 8. So around 12 or something. And I looked up the Tower. So this is the Mythic Tarot. It's such a worn book. I've studied tarot so much. I wanted to read this to you because I feel it's so appropriate. So sit with these words and see what they mean to you and your life at this time. So this is the Tower card, card 17. It says, on an inner level, let's actually look at the Tower while I'm doing this. Oh, hold on a minute, sorry. Okay. So on an inner level, the tower is an image of the collapse of old forms. The tower is the only man-made structure in the major arcana and is thus a representation of structures, inner and outer, which we ourselves build as defences against life and as a concealment to hide our less agreeable sides from others. In many ways, the tower is an image of the socially acceptable facade we adapt to hide the beast, or we could say the shadow, within. Then we use our professions, our good credentials, our affiliations with respectable institutions and companies, our carefully managed social roles, our politest smiles and most diplomatic exchanges, our magazine-inspired appearances, and family-instilled morals to hide that shameful secret. The tower is a structure of false or outgrown values, those attitudes towards life which do not spring from the whole self, but are put on like costumes in a play to impress the audience. Likewise, the tower also represents the structures we build in the outside world to embody our incomplete selves. The tower is about breaking down existing forms. This card, if it was a card, depends a great deal upon the attitude of the individual in terms of how difficult or painful it is to deal with. Obviously, it is more creative to ask oneself where one is constricted or bounded by a false persona or image, because a willing effort to break through this pretense can spare a great deal of anguish. But it seems that the tower will fall away anyway, whether we are willing or unwilling, not because of some malicious external fate decrees it, but because something within the individual, within us, has reached boiling point and can no longer live within such confines. So this tower, the castle, the tower, represents our confines and what we're confined by, what we're restricted by, what is holding us back, what we've, the lie that we've lived, the fakery that we've hidden behind, those smiles that we have when we don't feel like smiling. I feel like the dragon represents our inner power to rise up and move to the next level. In many ways, the dragon is rising out of the crumbling tower. It's ready to be freed. This dragon represents our true self, our power, and the tower, those structures that now hold us back, that limit our growth and our connection with our hearts and our truth. So let's grab those of you on my list. So I'm going to summon you all forward and poke you into the castle. So sorry you can't see my face. I think it's better to see the castle at this point. Let's zoom in just a bit. Oopsie. Yeah, just have a fiddle. There we go. Okay, so take a nice big breath and let's work through our healing list today. Take a nice big breath, and as I put you into the castle, the structure, the things that you're confined by or limited by or held back by, feel that sense of being confined by those ways or those parts of you. So first person I'd like to put into the tower is Marguerite Pepper Brady. Marguerite Into the tower you go. Adriana Kuliskova. In you go. Take a nice big breath, especially as I say your name, and just feel like you're within this space yourself. Kathleen Glen. Kathleen, in you go. We have Andrea Stuart. Summoning Ann Osias. Jane Larson. Angela James. Nicole Wiggins. The Valentine family. Janice Chalmers. Allison. Matthew Keith. So while I'm doing this, you may want to consider too what's breaking down in your life. What has expired and reached its ending or transformation that you might be still holding on to and not, trying to hold things together when things are falling apart. How does this relate to your life at this time? Charley Ross, adding you to the tower. Anne-Marie Douglas. Joanna Levine. Leslie Laagel. Susan Sonsteng. Christopher Regan. Sarah Jones. Wow, your paper's wet, Sarah. I don't know why. But that's probably an emotional energy that's coming in strongly for you, Sarah Jones. We have Pamela Florea. Sandi Greenham. Now, Carlee, please excuse my pronunciation of your surname. Carlee Chirichiello, I think. Carlee, into the tower you go. Avril Daly. Bridget Mehrtens. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your surname correctly either. Let me know, please, if I'm not. Let me know how to pronounce it. Kimberly Vaness. Bronwyn Usher. Carol White. Adding Sondra Battles into the tower. It almost feels like the tower of punishment, in medieval times. But it is really our own personal punishment, this tower. The structures that we build around ourselves to protect ourselves, to hide behind, to conform. So in many ways, even though it may work for a while, it is a confinement. Chelsea Keith. Rebecca Ross. Martha Samuels. Gayle McCoy. Ellen Stenslie, Suzie Nicholls, Zeina Baksmaty, Kanti Devi Wedad, Susan Macmillan. Just got a couple left now. Angie Griswold, Linda Davidson, Loretta Martin, and lucky last but not least must be Annick Beal. Okay, Annick, in you go. So our tower is full of individuals on our healing list and those ready to break down the old reality, the old structures, the old ways, the old limitations. Let me go back to those words from the Tower card. The Tower is an image of the collapse of old forms. The Tower is the only man-made structure in the major arcana and is thus a representation of structures, inner and outer, which we ourselves build as defences against life and as concealment to hide our less agreeable sides from others. In many ways, this tower is an image of the socially acceptable facade we adapt to hide the shadow within. Then we use our professions, our good credentials, our affiliations with respectable institutions and companies, our carefully mannered social roles, our politest smiles and most diplomatic exchanges, our magazine-inspired appearances and family-instilled morals to hide that shameful secret, or basically to hide our shadow, to hide our true self. The Tower is a structure of false or outgrown values, those attitudes towards life which do not spring from the whole self, but are put on like costumes in a play to impress the audience. Likewise, the Tower is also represents the structures we build in the outside world to embody our incomplete selves. So, from what I've noticed about this sort of stuff is that, let's actually bring the camera up for a second. Whoa, we're very zoomed in. See that? Yeah, what I've noticed is that the structures that we tend to build are put in place usually to survive or to cope with situations in our life. So we go through various things, like we might reflect on our past and we create certain beliefs or certain structures around these things that happen or the things that we witness, the things that we observe, and we create this facade, I suppose, in some ways to protect ourselves and to survive. And we reach a point, like we're reaching now, a lot of us, that these confinements, these beliefs, these restrictions are actually holding us back in being able to move forward. In many ways, these are trapping us. So they once maybe served a purpose, but now they are holding us back. So I'm going to do a bit of drumming and we will then do something. We might actually pull a card first. I'll just grab my healing energy cards here. We'll just grab a card. A card for now as we prepare to sit in but also break down this form. I feel a bit resistant, which is fine. So I feel like I'm delaying. Maybe I really don't want to break this, which I don't, but it's already broken, so I feel that we can use this to our advantage. But there is resistance in, you know, that this is a safe place, even if it's crumbling. A lot of us feel safe in the tower that we've created and the structures that we've created in our life. that it's our comfortable zone, and we might have tried so hard to defend it, to protect it, to keep it together, but it's just not working. And like those words said before, whether we're willing or unwilling, the tower's going to crumble anyway. So let's surrender to it and allow it to be what it needs to be for us. With that in mind, and as we prepare to drum, I have this card 43, I am expanding. It says, I am, your essence, your true self is expanding, not your lower ego demanding, or not this part of you that the tower represents. Open to the flow, third eye, heart, crown chakras, centered, balanced. Colourful serpent, which we can almost class the dragon as, allow unlimited opportunities into your life. So with the tower in place, even though it's crumbling, these are limited opportunities or limitations. So let's trust at this time that we are expanding, we are improving, we are becoming more of our true self. So I'm going to get out the drum, and then we'll go with the flow. We'll see how the drum sounds first because it's quite cold. Oh, nice. So I'm using the new dolphin drum. This is on the website at the moment, but I felt that I would like to use it today. Let's take a nice big breath. And I'm going to imagine drumming for each one of you inside this tower. Drumming to inspire you to find courage, to be ready to break it down, be ready to awaken to your true self and who you really truly are, and to create this new reality that many of us are birthing at this time. So take a nice big breath and let the drum touch you in parts of your body where you need it. Touch you in parts of your body where you need it, where you're holding on just still a little bit too tightly. And as you're ready to let go, we're now building up now to break this down. And I'm probably just going to do it suddenly because it feels like it just needs to be something we move into quickly. So let your hold go where you're holding on, surrender, break down if you need to so we can break through. Be willing to let go and awaken to who you truly are. Now, I don't know how this is going to go, but I'm just going to trust it. So, okay, here we go. So I'm going to use this crystal because this is what we're replacing our structure with. Our old structure is being replaced, it feels to me this time, with a crystalline structure. And this is a pretty special little crystal, quartz crystal. And I don't know how this is going to go. Let's just do it, not worry about the consequences at this point. So on the count of 3, I'm going to drop this on the tower. Let's just move the camera down a wee bit. There we go. Okay, here we go. Nice big breath. 1, 2, 3. Letting all of that rubble from our old structure that we've just broken down, let that sink into the earth now and return back to love. And here is our dragon, our true self that's risen up out of the tower and into the new structure that we create for ourselves, represented by the crystal tower, the crystal structure, and allowing the power of this new structure that we are now birthing and creating to help us become who we are, our true self. Interesting. A little piece of crystal broke off too. Okay, and as I was, just as I was coming here, just half an hour or so ago, I was putting out the rubbish because it's garbage day, and I looked down right where I put the garbage and saw this. It's winter, but I think the birds think it's spring for some reason, and it's a fully intact, just laying on the lawn, nowhere near a tree or anything, this blue baby bird's egg. And this represents now the new beginning that we're birthing. And I feel this is a beautiful symbol and ritual, a beautiful symbol and addition to our ritual today. The blue represents our truth, living with integrity, establishing a stronger sense of who we are. And this new grows out of the rubble of our past, of what we've broken down and what we've let go. So we're going to pull another card, and then I'm going to take you down to the water. So take a nice big breath. We'll just pull another card here. How are you feeling? So a card for now, as we now are right in front of a blank canvas, ready to build a new structure for ourselves and our life. Just because we break down the tower doesn't mean we break down all structure in our life. It just means we break down those limiting ones, the ones we've been hiding behind, the ones that aren't really who we are. And now we can create a new structure that matches who we've become or who we're becoming. And maybe in a few years' time we'll need to break that structure down too. So the best card for now is this support card 50. And it says, through support comes great protection. And in many ways the tower protected us. But it's through the support that we have around us, especially as these structures in our life crumble, that there is great protection in that, and also assistance and a reminder that we are never alone. Call on the wisdom of this card to help you through this time. It says love, strength and stamina. So this is about your or our spiritual team coming in to support us at this time, to support this transitional period now as we move between the crumbling, the letting go, the surrendering, the breakdown, into re-establishing and creating a new structure, a new reality for ourselves. And it's okay. And it's going to be okay. Let's go down to the water. Let me turn this around. So we're now walking towards a blank canvas. The blank canvas of our new potential, our new life, our new self. What's it going to be? What do we want to create for ourselves? How do we want to live? What things about ourselves do we need to break down and re-establish in a truer and more compassionate way? So take a nice big breath. Feel the blank canvas before you, ready for you to paint and write and script whatever it is that you want to create for yourself. Alive, alert, and free. Awakening to your heart, your truth. Awakening to you. Look what awaits you out there. This blank canvas isn't limited. You can script anything on here. You can paint your dreams. The whole landscape awaits, as does your freedom. So now moving forward, you may find as this energy settles that you want to really seriously consider what are the important things about your life? What are your priorities? What's changing? What's developing? What's growing? What's becoming? What have you been talking about that you can now really start to think about implementing? It's now up to you to enforce and create this new reality for you. So take a nice big breath, and I'll just turn the camera around. Are we zoomed out? I think so. Hello. Yeah, so how are you feeling? Suzie says Susie's feeling hurt in the heart. Is that from the letting go of what you've, the pain that you've endured and that you've held in your heart? Just maybe caress your heart, nurture it, and care for those hurt parts. And remind yourself that it's going to be okay. That the only things that are breaking down are the things that are holding you back. Not the things that are good for you, not the things that match your truth or who you are, who you truly are. So it's just the false stuff that we've been hiding behind. So let it go and maybe nurture and soften your heart. So thank you. We're just finishing up now. I'll just grab my cards and we'll grab a card to go. So I want to thank you so much for joining me. Thank you especially to those of you on my healing list. I trust you've enjoyed this connection. And yeah, if you want to be a part of it next time, please have a look on my Patreon. The link I think is in the video, so you can check that out. The next video will come towards the end of July. So just have a look there. Let me know if you've got questions. Linda says, a heavy heart but with more understanding, which is beautiful and nourishing. So just gently now as you let your body heal. So I'm looking for the best healing energy card now as we move forward. And I'm really looking for a card, sorry about the wobbling, I'm really looking for a card to think about what we need to now do moving forward. So what do we need to know about what's next and what we do when we turn this off and now process this and move into our everyday life? So the best card for the majority of us is this. Card 7, Self-Love. And it says, spend time in reflection, silence or solitude to help you love and accept who you are. Allow yourself to receive, look within, and pure love. So this is now about our self-care time and really being nurturing and supportive and compassionate towards ourselves, really listening to how we feel, what's going on for our body, and what we do want to create for our life. We may need to, or we may go through a sort of releasing time too, of letting go of more of those old structures that have been holding us back. So that may require some gentleness, some self-love, self-care time. But it's interesting actually, because when I drew this was a picture of me sitting next to a tree, where I'd imagine that I'd be there painting the view. And so this is interesting because I talked about the blank canvas and creating a new reality for ourselves. So in many ways this image is us sitting now looking down at the landscape here, the landscape of the life that we want to create for ourselves. But not just that, because our life that we create for ourselves has to be centered around or reflect or ripple out from who we are. So it's not just about what we want in our life, it's about looking really honestly at ourselves and who we've become and what we need to do to improve ourselves, because life just ripples out from us. So be careful that you're not looking too much about the things that you want to create now physically, which some of that can be so, but also look at, okay, what can I improve, what can I change, what would be better for me to consider about who I am, my personality, my attitude, my way I treat people, my way I treat myself. So these are the sorts of things that are going to be really important moving forward. So what do you want to create not only in your life, but for yourself? What type of person do you want to be? And we meet all sorts of people in our life. So we meet people that we might admire and think, wow, I'd love to portray some of their attributes as well, or really think about being a maybe whatever sort of role model we see in them. There are other people that we meet in our life who we don't want to be like at all. So we may then look at that and decide, okay, I definitely don't want to be a person that treats people like this because I know what it feels like. So there are really important relationships and connections that we have, and even not so nice ones, that can actually teach us about the person we want to be and also the person we don't want to be. So I'll leave that with you. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm probably going to go and take your names down into the waves and just let it soak up into the water and into the wet sand, and then I'll probably bury the remnants of the dragon and the castle and the tower. So thanks so much for joining me. I trust you've enjoyed this time we've spent together. Just allow the energy to settle for the next few days and allow it to propel you into a new phase now. Come back and reconnect with the recording if you need to just enforce anything for yourself. And if you have questions, let me know. Thank you so much, and thanks for participating and thanks for supporting my work. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now. Bye. See you, Martha.